Hi, I'm Carlin Borisenko. In early 2020, I was the knitting Democrat who accidentally went viral on the internet for going to a Trump rally and then left the party. I became the conservative darling, was on all the shows, traveled around the country, and then realized that conservatives were no better than Democrats. If there's one thing that I've learned, it's that both political tribes are two sides of the same coin. But it wasn't all bad. On my journey, I became obsessed with understanding the woke ideology and the culture war. I broke the story of the city of Seattle doing segregated training with its employees.
How bad has this stuff become? The city of Seattle has now put out, I'm not kidding you, this is according to Dr. Carolyn Borisenko, who's an organizational psychologist. The city of Seattle asked its white employees to voluntarily spend a day off in a training about their internalized racial superiority.
I broke the story that led to the first ever federal lawsuit against critical race theory in the schools. I broke the Coke Be Less White story, one of the biggest anti-woke stories of all time. It got over 30 million views. Coca-Cola's corporate headquarters even had to change their outgoing voicemail.
Throughout the past few days, you may have seen inaccurate reporting on the content of our recently launched diversity, equity, and inclusion training program.
I exposed the schools in Burlington, Vermont for grooming middle school children live on the internet. They called me an unwoke cult leader for that. And the Vermont Human Rights Commission slandered me publicly as being a hate channel. I even got called a hero in Breitbart for exposing that the Washington Post was writing a hit piece on Christopher Rufo. I have broken story after story after story about what's going on in the public schools, from Cambridge, Massachusetts, to autistic sex education, to the Department of Education in Michigan, literally training teachers all over the state how to groom children. I wrote a book called Actively Unwoke, the ultimate guide for fighting back against the woke insanity in your life. I host a podcast all about fighting back, and I'm downloading all of my knowledge to you on my Substack, carlin.substack.com. The world is a crazy place. We are literally surrounded by cults on all sides. On this show, we're going to do a deep dive into all aspects of the culture war, and I will show you the dark, dystopian underbellies on both sides. Here are the commitments I'll make to you. I will always tell you the truth. I will always bring you receipts. And if you stick with me, I promise you will see the world differently. Welcome to the cult. Please mount that like button for me and subscribe if you feel so inclined. Well, hello, everyone. Happy, what day is it? Thursday? I don't even know anymore. I feel like I'm still on Porkfest time. I haven't been doing my regular streams the past couple days because I feel like I'm still on Porkfest time, but that's okay. We got to get back into the swing of things, guys, because guess what? Big SCOTUS ruling handed down today. Oh my word. Affirmative action just got overturned. That's a shame. That's a shame. So, guys, what we're going to be focusing the majority of our time on today is discussing the Supreme Court ruling that overturned affirmative action for use in college admissions. I spent the last several hours on a Twitter space hosted by Brian Krasentine. I know some of you guys were there. Yasmin was there. Phil was there. Yo, if you guys get a chance to listen to that space, I got to tell you, like, the adherence to critical race theory never cease to amaze me in how ridiculous their arguments are. It's basically like every time I said anything, they were like, you just don't have a valid argument. You don't have a valid opinion. You are expecting us to do the emotional labor for you. Why don't you spend some time on Google? And I was like, bitch, I'm not doing your Googling for you. If you want to present an argument, then present an argument. Like, my God, but we're not going to go into that Twitter space. I felt like for people who listen to the Twitter space, I mean, I know I got a little spicy. I got a little interrupty when people were like openly and brazenly distorting what I said, but I felt like I held my own in that Twitter space. I really did. I was like, I especially loved it when one woman was like, because I basically said, I was like, the best way we can defeat systemic racism in this country is to defund the schools immediately. And then one Marxist chimed in. She was like, it's interesting to me that you're saying defund the schools, but not defund the police. I was like, bitch, let's defund everything. I'm an anarchist. Defund everything. thing, that would be great. But can we focus on the schools right now? Just because, it's a schools kind of day. Kino Review says that Twitter Space was a clown show. I mean, there have been worse clown shows on Twitter Spaces, and we will talk a little bit about some of those Twitter Spaces today, just a smidgen. But what we will spend most of our time working on is this Supreme Court ruling. And I got to tell you guys, and I said this on the Twitter Space, but I actually worked in college admissions. I worked in college admissions as an admissions counselor, as someone who was reviewing applications and stuff like that for the first 5 years of my career. And so I actually kind of when it comes to affirmative action in college admissions, I'm kind of eh. And the reason I'm kind of about it is not because I like affirmative action or hate affirmative action. I just happen to know that in the vast majority of colleges, they don't even look at race when they're reviewing the application. That's just factual. They really just don't. And so will this really have the impacts that people think it will outside of the Ivy Leagues or the very top tier universities? Probably not, to be quite honest about it. But that's really not the point, is it? The point is that this is a fight that we're going to have, and we might as well have it. So let's dig in. Oh, we're not going to go to that just yet. Let's dig in and look at some of the reactions to this. So we got the rabbit hole here. The Supreme Court just ruled against affirmative action. Why? Because it is systemically racist. Oh my God. So you're telling me that affirmative action supports and upholds systemic racism? Well, the only way that we can be the very best anti-racist we can be is to get rid of it entirely then. Harvard applicants in the top academic decile have different chances of admission depending on their race. Asians, 12.7%, whites, 15.3%, Hispanics, 31.3%, blacks, 56.1%. That's insane. Do you guys realize, a black person applies to Harvard and just on the basis of their skin color, they've got a coin flip about whether or not they get into Harvard? That is mind-blowing. Let's look at this graph right here. Harvard's preferences for underrepresented minorities. Harvard's admissions data reveals astonishing racial disparities in admissions rates among similarly qualified applicants. SFFA's expert testified that the applicants with the same academic index, a matrix created by Harvard based on test scores and GPAs, had widely different admission rates by race. And you can see the full table there. And it's just this is clear as day. Yeah, Yasmin definitely would have gotten into Harvard. Yasmin, you need to invoke that black trans privilege, girl. What are you doing? You absolutely should have applied to Harvard. Just put trans on the application, I am a black trans woman in, no questions asked. You probably get a full scholarship to boot. I think that would be a great idea. Yasmin, you should try applying right now and see what's happened, because the reality is, and I was going to get to this later, let me pull it up now. There it is. The reality is that Harvard is basically giving the middle finger to the Supreme Court as a result of this decision, because they've already said they're going to try to find a loophole around it. So you actually can still get, Yasmin, if you wanted to apply to Harvard today, you could still get your blackness and your transness included in the decision-making process. And I'm going to tell you how. So Harvard sent out this email earlier today, and it said, "Dear members of the Harvard community, today the Supreme Court delivered its decision in Students for Fair Admissions versus President and Fellows of Harvard College. The court upheld that Harvard College's admission system does not comply with the principles of Equal Protection Clause embodied in Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. The court ruled that colleges and universities may consider an admissions decision an applicant's discussion of how race affected his or her life, be it through discrimination, inspiration, or otherwise. We will certainly comply with the court's decision." So what does that mean? How is Harvard getting around this Supreme Court decision? Never let it be said that the left is not 18 steps ahead of wherever the right is on any given day. Harvard is literally telling people, just tell us you're black in your essay, bro. Just tell us you're trans in your essay, bro. Just tell us you're an underrepresented, oppressed minority in your essay. We will overlook the rest of everything. It's cool. We still got this. So does it really make a difference? I mean, this is one of those things where I'm like, I don't really think this actually makes a difference. I don't think this actually means anything. I mean, it's like a fair what is the term for a victory that doesn't really mean anything, like a Pyrrhic victory, something like that. So, but I do think it's important, and I think that it is important to lay down the law on this sort of thing. Did I pull up Michelle Obama? Hang on, let me find Michelle Obama's essay real quick, because Michelle Obama actually had a really interesting response to this that I thought was pretty indicative of why I liked this decision. Let me pull it up over here. Bing. And this one pissed a lot of people off in this Twitter space. Oh my God. I read the first paragraph of Michelle Obama's statement on affirmative action, and this pissed off all the BLM activists in the Twitter space. Let me tell you what. Let me read this first paragraph. She said, "Back in college, I was one of few Black students on campus, and I was proud of getting into such a respected school, which would be Princeton. I knew I'd worked hard for it. But still, I sometimes wondered if people thought I was there because of affirmative action. It was a shadow that students like me couldn't shake, whether those doubts came from outside or inside our own minds." Exactly, Michelle. That's exactly right. Michelle Obama has just expertly and beautifully encapsulated why affirmative action in college admissions needed to be struck down by the Supreme Court. Because listen, what I heard a lot today in that Twitter space with the Krasantines was am I even saying their name right? I don't even know. But like what I heard a lot is that, do you know who are the people who benefit most from affirmative action? White women. So apparently I've been a beneficiary of affirmative action all my life. Didn't even know I was a beneficiary of affirmative reaction, but let's just go down that road for a second. I don't want people thinking that I got something because of my race or because of my gender or because of my sexual orientation or etc., 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 etc. I mean, did Michelle Obama deserve to get into Princeton? Well, Dinesh D'Souza doesn't really think so. Dinesh D'Souza actually responded to Michelle saying, "I just read Michelle Obama's Princeton thesis. She is a perfect example." Oh, hang on, I'm not clicking on the right thing. Let me show you what was actually said. There it is. Bing. "I just read Michelle Obama's thesis. She is a perfect example of an intellectually mediocre student who can barely put together a sentence and should never have been admitted to an Ivy League university. Will anyone with a straight face deny this?" Now, I gotta say, I kind of took that with a grain of salt when I saw Dinesh tweet it. I didn't actually take the time to read the whole thesis, but let's just take a moment to like bounce into Michelle Obama's like thesis from Princeton for a second. And I just want to read you. I scrolled through it really quickly. Let me show you what she wrote about. Do, 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 do. "There are two basic variables in this category. By inquiring about the relative comfort that the respondents feel when interacting with both Black and whites in various activities, the study tries to provide some idea of the respondents' personal preference when interacting with Blacks and with whites, and thus measures their degree of attachment to individuals of different races." Let's see. Where was the part that I was reading? Michelle Obama basically did a whole thesis about how she doesn't feel comfortable interacting with white people. I'm not even joking about that. If you want to take the time to check out her thesis, it's called "Princeton Educated Blacks in the Black Community." Like it is basically a thesis about how Michelle Obama didn't feel comfortable at Princeton interacting with white people. So I don't know. Maybe Dinesh D'Souza actually has a point there when he said that, maybe Michelle Obama was actually an affirmative action like admission to Princeton University. Well, I mean, we don't know, but I mean, like, I do think it's a horrible thing to have that kind of like hanging over your head, to be like, did I really get in on my own merit? Did I not get in on my own merit? Do other people think I got in because of I was an affirmative action decision or all this stuff? And it's like, what's great about this? Now we've just taken it off the table. Now no one needs to wonder anymore. I don't need to wonder if I benefited from affirmative action as a white woman, as all of the BLM activists in that Twitter space earlier just assured me that I did. I was the most benefited by affirmative action. Well, now I don't have to wonder anymore. Michelle Obama doesn't have to wonder anymore. No one has to wonder anymore. Isn't life great? that it delivers us these opportunities. So I liked that reaction from Michelle Obama. Even Barack Obama had a reaction that wasn't even that spicy, to be honest. But there are all sorts of other reactions. I want to just do a quick plug, though. I will be summarizing some of these reactions later today on my Substack, which is Carlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. Make sure you're subscribed to my Substack. This is my primary content platform. It is where I put out all my best Unwoke content, and it is where I summarize for you all the things you need to know. There's actually a whole bunch of things I want to write on the Substack. There's a couple different things that haven't really been covered widely that I want to make sure get coverage, but we are definitely doing the affirmative action thing because I do think it's important for people to see the responses to all of this because it's hilarious. It's like Democrats trying desperately to cling to their racism, having every justification that they can to cling to this idea that we absolutely must judge people based on the color of their skin rather than on the content of their character or their contribution, stuff like that. I'll be writing about this later today, so make sure you're subscribed. You can subscribe for free, but if you want to support the work I'm doing and keep me in business because I am 100% funded by you, you can sign up for $5 a month, $50 a year. And it's actually a great time to sign up as a supporter on my Substack because I haven't officially announced this yet, but unofficially, the price of the Substack is going to be going up at the end of the month of July. Okay. So for right now, you can sign up to support my work and get access to all of the premium features and the benefits and the supporter perks and all that stuff for $5 a month, $50 a year over on my Substack at the end of July. July, not June, July. It will be going up to $8 a month or $80 for the year. But everyone who is subscribed before then gets grandfathered in. And I'm sure I'm not supposed to use the term grandfather because it's probably racist or something. I don't really know. But if you want to get in it for $5 a month, $50 a year, now is the perfect time to do it because the price will be going up in about 30 days or so. Indeed, inflation is at work here too, or just like I decided my content was more valuable than $5 a month, but that's just going to be the way it is. All right. Before we go back and look at some of those other reactions to the Supreme Court stuff, I wanted to just talk about something else. Because yesterday I was supposed to have a stream, obviously at 5 o'clock, and I didn't end up having that stream because I was engrossed in a Twitter space that was documenting the insane back and forth between the Trump supporters and the DeSantis supporters. And I got to tell you guys, is anyone following along with the war between Trump and DeSantis influencers? Because this, for me, is like the very best part of this election. I am living every single day for this. It is amazing. And I got to give credit to Laura Loomer, man. Laura Loomer is a psycho. Laura Loomer is not someone I would ever want on my team if I'm on. Well, I guess I would want her on my team in some respects because Laura Loomer has been like the ultimate thorn in the DeSantis campaign side. Laura Loomer, as one person, has been so distracting to the DeSantis campaign that they aren't even focused on fundraising. They're focused on Laura Loomer first, fundraising second, and I think it's great. Laura Loomer for the past day and a half has been really going after Ron DeSantis's press secretary because according to Laura Loomer, Ron DeSantis's press secretary has a sock account on Twitter. And Laura Loomer is trying desperately to prove that this sock account that I blocked a long time ago, I don't remember why I blocked him, but I did block him a long time ago, is really Ron DeSantis's press secretary. And she's got all these conspiracy theories and it's also great. I don't really care either way. I just think it's entertaining, but that's not even the only thing. So this asshole, Pedro Gonzalez, does anyone know who this guy is? I know who this guy is because 2 years ago, I called out this guy because he was using the same language that the white identitarians were using who co-opted the anti-CRT movement. I have talked to you guys time and time and time again, and I hope I've been able to make a better case for it in the past 2 years. But I was making the case badly 2 years ago that if you want to know what political camp people are in and what they really believe, you need to look at their language, because the different camps use completely different language. And I monitor all of them. I look at the Democrats, I look at the progressives, I look at the socialists, I look at the independents, I look at the libertarians, I look at the MAGA crowd, I look at the conservative, I look at the alt-right. And I got to tell you guys, understanding what groups are using what language will be so enlightening for who these people are and what they believe. So, one of the things that Laura Loomer and her little war against the DeSantis campaign basically uncovered this week is that Pedro Gonzalez, who has been a conservative influencer for a while, is a raging anti-Semite. But this wasn't news to me at all, because Pedro Gonzalez has been supporting this white identitarian movement that tried to co-opt the anti-CRT movement for at least 2 years. And the way that we knew that was by looking at his language. Let me just pull something up. I want to show you guys this. I need to pull up a search. I'm doing it in another screen so you guys cannot see what I am doing, because sometimes you guys don't need to see everything that's on my screen at any given time. Let me see. Pedro Gonzalez. I got to get his Twitter handle, essentially, is what's happening. Okay. So I have said for a while. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I've been telling you guys for a while that if you want to know who is involved in this like alt-right white identitarian bullshit, and when I say white identitarian, they're also raging anti-Semites, by the way. These are like the Gab people. Oh, that's interesting. What you need to do is to look for the people who are using the term anti-white. Now, to be really clear, I do not allow the use of the term anti-white on my channel because of these assholes. Because if you use the term anti-white on my channel, even if it's in the comments, or if it's something that I display on the screen, it will attract these rabid anti-Semites, white identitarian assholes like you have never seen in your life. And I know that because they tried to cancel me for like several weeks in 2021. They were coming at me every single day. Anytime I went on a different YouTube channel, they were following me around, trying to sabotage everything. And these people are actually like dangerous. No. But no, this is no fucking around. The reason that I tell people not to use this term is because it is one of the most simple things that you can do to identify who is associated with these people and who's not. And I'm going to prove that. I just want to grab this super chat from Rottweiler. DeSantis vetoed a bill that pretty much everyone agreed on, even his fan base, which reeks to me of authoritarianism. His neocon side is showing. I love how Dave Rubin and the Daily Wire are quiet on this. Which bill is that? I don't know anything about that. I'll take your word for it. It sounds like Ron DeSantis. I'll look into that later. But I want to show you, I just looked up anti-white from Pedro Gonzalez. Ron DeSantis is driving Trump sycophants so insane they're actually running him against DeSantis is racist because he opposes anti-white critical race theory. Anti-white. Anti-white. Anti-white narratives. Anyone you see this using this term over and over and over again, I promise you, is going to be connected with really bad people. Anti-white racism. Using anti-white on Juneteenth. That was really nice of him. This is when I identified that Pedro Gonzalez was what he was. When he said, I'll be on Tucker Carlson tonight to talk about anti-white racism. Okay? So, again, we can have conversations about how critical race theory impacts white people. And I would say that critical race theory is racist. It impacts everyone. But every single person you see pushing this anti-white language, does not understand that whiteness in the fame of critical race theory doesn't even mean your skin color, bro. It means capitalism. So we already know every single person who is pushing this anti-white bullshit doesn't know what they're talking about in the first place because they don't understand it's not about skin color. But even more than that, we know they come from really bad people. So I'm actually pretty grateful that Laura Loomer exposed his ass. He's been all over the place. DeSantis influencers rally behind unmasked anti-Semite. Let me just pull up the Breitbart thing really quick. I should have had it up already. I apologize. It's been a busy day, all right. Oh, there he is. There he is. Found it. Exclusive rising conservative influencer Pedro Gonzalez regularly espoused racist and anti-Semitic sentiments in private messages. Duh. Wasn't the anti-white crowd disciples of that one guy that was trolling your channel a while back? Yes, it was. And that was the guy that Adam Krigler kissed up to. That was the guy that so many people that claim to be against critical race theory, I don't even know, like critical race theory is not in quotes, claim to be against critical race theory. They were sticking up for that asshole. These are overt racist people. You always have to be like careful who you're associating with, and this is no joke, guys. So they actually got someone posted this guy's private messages, and he's basically sounding a lot like Nick Fuentes. Not like every Jew is problematic, but most of them are. Well, that seems a little bit anti-Semitic to me. The only tactical consideration of Jews is screening them from movements. Oh, that's a really nice thing to say, Pedro. I'm at the point where I can respect Jews as individuals and like them as individuals, but as a group, I see them as problematic. Oh, yeah, that sounds a little anti-Semitic, doesn't it? Oh, wait, now we're on Gab. Minorities like me see America for what it is, a country built by whites that can only survive if whites survive, so he's an overt racist, and it is my job to make sure whites wake up. This guy, I fucking told you guys this 2 years ago. This guy is associated with that white identitarian movement. I'm feeling a little vindicated right now. What can I say? TFW, when you realize whites are the only hope non-whites have of living civilized lives, I'm sorry, what? This is the alt-right, ladies and gentlemen. Associate with these people at your own discretion. Maybe now, when I say there are real live white identitarians and racists on the right, maybe people won't go, Carlin, you're just being a woke leftist, and can you stop being a leftist? Yes, everyone owes me $2. Pay up. Sometimes it takes months or even years to prove that I was correct with what I said 2 years ago. And I would just appreciate it if people would acknowledge that. That's all I'm saying. I got massively canceled by the right for talking about this stuff 2 years ago. Massively canceled. Me talking about this stuff 2 years ago is what led to that ridiculous smear campaign where they tried to make me look like an anti-Semite because I was the one calling their asses out. So I'm just saying, Prager University, you wanna pay up with the Carlin is right $2 super chat, Prager you? Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm still the anti-Semitic one. Okay, sure. Rottweiler said, Bill HB 605 explanation of criminal history records had unanimous support, and he just decided to veto it, pissing off some of his fan base. I'm telling you, man, there's something crazy about Ron DeSantis. James Jones, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. What else do I have from Laura Loomer? Let's see. Oh, and a rare moment of clarity from Candace Owens. Of course, Candace Owens has blocked me on Twitter for reasons I don't even understand because I never interacted with Candace Owens on Twitter. Which means that Candace Owens, and I don't mind being blocked by her, by the way, people can associate with whoever they want. But like, I'm really tickled by the fact that Candace Owens had some reason specifically to seek me out and block me. And I think I know what it was. I posted a video calling her a smear artist. But you know what? Whatever. So Candace Owens had a rare moment of clarity about Ron DeSantis, and she said, sorry to say, but the DeSantis campaign was dead on arrival, and it's time to admit it. Tons of mistakes. Needed to be more upfront about his intention to run. Doesn't come across as honest, and he's boring. Yes, he is. He is so boring. He also needed someone more like Kelly McEnany rather than pushy Christina Pushaw running comms. The influencers are still cheerleading for him. Are those that recently moved to his state. She's talking about Dave Rubin there. and want to reap the benefits for standing firm beside him through his inevitable loss. That is very true. I firmly believe, and listen, people can support whoever they want. I am supporting Vivek, and then I will be supporting no one because Vivek's not going to win the nomination, I don't think. I don't think he will. If he does, I will be pleasantly surprised. But I am supporting no one, essentially. I think everyone sucks. But people are free to support whoever they want. Can we just acknowledge, though, that people like Dave Rubin and like Chris Rufo, who I adore and have immeasurable respect for. I really do. I am not shit-talking Chris Rufo. I might be shit-talking Dave Rubin just a tiny little smidgen of a bit, just a tiny bit. But I'm not shit-talking Chris Rufo. Chris Rufo supports Ron DeSantis. Dave Rubin supports Ron DeSantis. There are a bunch of other influencers who support Ron DeSantis. Every single one of them knows he's going to lose. But I'm going to bet you that they also know that he's going to run for president again, and they want to hitch their something to that wagon, I suppose. They want to be there for the next time. They're not there for this time. They're there for next time. They're there to ingratiate themselves into the good graces of someone who is obviously and clearly an establishment shill. Because I really do think that Ron DeSantis is an establishment shill. And so we'll see how that goes for them. No, I actually think it had to do with the what is her name? Nicole Arbor. I think it had to do with the Nicole Arbor thing, because Nicole Arbor basically released footage that Candace Owens was recording her phone calls and we're going to use it against her. And I had Nicole Arbor on my channel to talk about it. And I think that was what did it. I think it was before the Eliza Blue thing. So, and I just got an ad for DeSantis. Excellent. Thank you, Ron DeSantis, for paying me money for my YouTube channel. I appreciate it. Queen Beth of the chat says, I give this begrudgingly. I hate it when you're right. Well, thank you, Beth. I appreciate that. That's like a double Carlin is right tip jar. Yasmin, everyone pay up. I'm just saying. I'm not right all the time, only like 99% of the time. Kazmar, oh my gosh, with a nice big super sticker. I do appreciate that. That's like paying for 10 people. That's like paying in PragerU's entire Carlin is, well, no, PragerU owes me a lot more than that. But like that's like paying a whole bunch of people at PragerU who will never admit that I was right and they were wrong. It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, anything else there? Nope. Let's go back to affirmative action. So let's see. So the first thing I did this morning was I listened to a Twitter space because Randy Weingarten and Becky Pringle, who are the heads of two of the teachers' unions. So Randy Weingarten is the head of the ATF. Becky Pringle is the head of the NEA. These are basically the biggest teachers' unions in America. They got together to have an emergency Twitter space all about this affirmative action ruling. And I listened to the whole thing this morning. Rottweiler said, of course, the Daily Wire is simping for DeSantis hard. After all, they have defended McCain, Cheney, Romney, Bush. Why is anyone surprised about this? I just don't know. Why would anyone be surprised that the Daily Wire is going to shill when the Daily Wire does nothing but shill? I'm just saying. Luis, I don't know what you're talking about. My website is not offline. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, bro. Let me see. Oh, there is some error on my website. Huh. Well, that'll be something I look into after this, but don't worry about it. Guys, if you're trying to go to activelyunwoke.com right now, apparently there is some sort of error, and I will be looking into that later, but that's not really pertinent to the conversation at the moment. Head over to my Substack if you're looking for my website. Murphy's Pool says tip jar. Thank you. Yeah, my hosting company for my website has been weird lately, so I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I can't look into it right now while I'm live on the internet. Anyway, so I listened to this Twitter space with Randy Weingarten, and Randy Weingarten is like totally bugging out. She was like, this is the worst decision again since Dobbs, and it ignores the original sin of slavery. And Randy Weingarten in this Twitter space actually said that Florida schools will not be able to teach about this Supreme Court decision. How crazy is that? Randy Weingarten is like Florida schools absolutely won't be able to teach their students about why this Supreme Court decision is wrong and bad. Well, why are teachers teaching that Supreme Court decisions are bad, Randy? Oh, looks like another one of my websites is down. Maybe just my whole hosting company is down. That's probably what's going on right now. Why are teachers supposed to be teaching that Supreme Court decisions are bad, Randy? That sounds a little bit like activism to me. I'm just saying. So that was a fun Twitter space to listen into. The court is rejecting the ideals the country was founded on. Randy Weingarten is insinuating people from right-leaning spaces don't care about teaching everyone. It was crazy. That Twitter space was recorded. It was recorded by this Alliance for Justice people. So if you want to hear what Randy Weingarten said for herself, I think the recording is still up. You can go and see for yourself. Well, here's the thing, Tom K, about the I told you so's, is that every single time I'm right about one of these things, I get massively, 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 massively shit on for days, weeks, or months of my life by the conservative right, who then engage in smear campaigns, dox my friends, try to destroy everything I'm trying to do, all because I hurt their feelings and telling them something they didn't want to hear. And so when I am inevitably proven right about every single thing that I'm saying, I will goddamn say I told you so, and I will not apologize for that, because I will never get the apology that I damn well deserve from the people who spend all their time trying to destroy my life and my work. So I'll take it myself. Thank you for your concern, though. I appreciate it. Sid the Cat, I appreciate the super sticker. Thank you so much. Let's see. What else do we have for reactions to the Supreme Court decision? Oh, the American Psychiatric Association, totally woke. If you had any doubt, the American Psychiatric Association has come out in support of racism. Now, you know what's funny is the American Psychiatric. God damn, my voice was fine all year, all week when I was at PorkFest. As soon as I come back to my office, my voice starts getting messed up again. What is going on? There's something in my office that's screwing up my voice. I don't know what it is, but it's disturbing me. But we're going to get through it. It'll be fine. Told you so is an important part of life coaching, actually. I mean, I think people should get credit where credit is due, and if no one wants to give them credit where credit is due, they should damn well take it themselves. So the American Psychiatric Association released a statement, and of course, interesting fun fact about the American Psychiatric Association is they were one of the key groups that lobbied the government to institute vaccine mandates. So uber woke organization. They said race-conscious admissions policies are designed to address racial discrimination by recognizing and responding to structural barriers that hinder access to higher education for underrepresented students. While the ramifications have yet to be fully determined, today's decision in Students for Fair Admissions versus President and Fellows of Harvard undermines the ability of colleges and universities and medical schools to build a workforce of healthcare professionals that effectively treat the increasingly diverse body of patients they serve. Now, that's an interesting addition. Medical schools. Now, of course, psychiatrists are trained in medical schools. Psychiatrists are medical doctors, so it does make sense. But does anyone want to take a guess specifically about why the APA might have an interest in medical schools specifically when it comes to this decision? Could it be because the American Medical Association has basically mandated woke training throughout the entirety of medical school, the entirety of medical residency, the entirety of anyone teaching residents anywhere have to have diversity training, essentially, is an ongoing part of what they're doing? Could it be that? I wonder how this decision today will impact the American Medical Association next. That would be an interesting question. Who is going to sue the American Medical Association, which is basically the governing body for credentialing in medicine? So if you are not going to like an American Medical Association like credentialed school, you basically don't get to be a doctor, right? So who's going to sue the American Medical Association for putting race at the forefront of its educational practice? There might be a lawsuit there. I'm just saying. What else do we have? Oh, AOC. AOC is, of course, pissed off. Let's see what she had to say. If SCOTUS was serious about their ludicrous colorblindness claims, they would have abolished legacy admissions, aka affirmative action for the privileged. 70% of Harvard's legacy applicants are white. SCOTUS didn't touch that, which would have impacted them and their patrons. Well, listen, I hate to be contrarian. Well, no, I don't. I love being contrarian. AOC isn't necessarily wrong here. I know that's gonna hurt people like a dagger through the heart, but AOC is not necessarily wrong because legacy admissions suck. Legacy admissions should not be a thing. Legacy admissions is bullshit. I actually completely agree with that point. However, the reason that the Supreme Court did not strike down legacy admissions is because it wasn't a part of the lawsuit in the first place. If AOC wants to bring a lawsuit about college admissions via legacy admissions, then she should do it. But don't expect the Supreme Court to strike down something that had nothing to do with the original lawsuit. This is kind of basic. But I do actually agree with this point, and I think it is one that oh no, Rockweiler's unsubbing, oh no. He's joking. This was actually a point though that was made in that Twitter space that I was in earlier, and I have to say I agree with it. Listen, when our opponents make good points, a broken clock is right twice a day. It is the only intellectually honest thing we can do is acknowledge that, good point, fair point, well made, AOC, fine. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Justice Sotomayor came out as pro-racism. Sonia Sotomayor wrote a dissent to the ruling. Let's see what the Hill had to say about that. Well, basically all universities, even if they're private, they get public funding. So this is going to impact everyone. Do not use this phrase on my channel. I am the only person who's allowed to use it on my channel. I am not fucking around. That is one of the few things that I don't joke about. I will use it when it's necessary to use it, but you will not, because I'm not attracting these people to because you find it amusing. I will look into the website thing later. I have no idea what's going on. Hang on, let me check my other websites real quick. Let me just do that. This is a hosting thing. Oh no, my other website's still up. Okay, that website's still up. That website's not up. So it looks like this is a hosting thing. I will take it up with my host later. But again, guys, whether or not my website is up shouldn't really matter, because this is my main website, Carlin, KARLYN.substack.com. This is the only website that really matters. You don't need to worry about my other website right now. Everything you need to know is on this website. So go over here, subscribe to this one. Problem solved. Everyone stop worrying about it. It's a hosting company problem. These things happen. We'll fix it later. All right. Let's read about Sonia Sotomayor's dissent. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor blasted the Supreme Court majority decision Thursday that gutted the use of affirmative action on college admissions in a fiery dissent that Sotomayor read from the bench to underscore its historic significance. The liberal justice wrote the ruling rolls back decades of precedent and momentous progress. Well, how so? In so holding, the court cements a superficial rule of color blindness as a constitutional principle in an endemically segregated society where race has always mattered and continues to matter. Oh, Sonia Sotomayor is a racist. You know, one of the key things that critical race theory argues is that being colorblind is a component of a white supremacist society, just like individualism, telling time, you know, working hard, that sort of thing. We shouldn't be in a colorblind society because that means that we are overlooking a key aspect of race. But like, it kind of seems a little bit racist to say that our constitution should judge people based on race first and everything else second in a 69-page dissent. This woman basically wrote a short novel about all the reasons that she wants to be a racist. The court subverts the constitutional guarantee of equal protection by further entrenching racial inequality in education, the very foundation of our democratic government and pluralistic society. Why does Sonia Sotomayor hate Asian people? Because if we go back, not there, there, we can clearly see that the population that was most impacted by Harvard's admissions policies weren't white. They were Asian. So why does Sonia Sotomayor hate Asian people? Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. Asians are the same as white now. Asians have fully ascended to whiteness. Asians were oppressed when they needed to do the Stop Asian Hate campaign. After that guy shot up a bunch of massage parlors in Atlanta, and they needed to have a reason for Asians to be oppressed, and then they were because they were running massage parlors, and we had to do a whole social media campaign about it. There was even a special emoji on Twitter that came up when you did the Stop Asian Hate hashtag. And then, do you guys know what day Asians stopped being oppressed? Because there is a specific day to it. There is. Does anyone want to guess the specific day that everyone stopped caring about hate crimes against Asian people? We'll see if you guys have been paying attention. Well, it does have to do with George Floyd, but no, the Stop Asian Hate campaign happened after George Floyd's death. But it is tangentially related to that. Wasn't Juneteenth? No, it was not George Floyd, not directly. The day that Asians stopped being oppressed was, it happened to be, two things happened on this day. Number one, Derek Chauvin was convicted of murdering George Floyd, so that's how it's tangentially related. And number two, on the same exact day, there was video of a police shooting a black woman, essentially, that got released on exactly the same day that Derek Chauvin happened to get convicted of George Floyd's murder, essentially. But it was a bad video to release because the black woman was attacking someone else with a knife. Okay? So basically, the police rolled up. There was a fight among a bunch of black people. One black woman was about to stab someone else with a knife. The police shot her, and then they got a hold of the body camera footage to say, look, the police are shooting innocent black people. But then they didn't watch the video because the black woman was clearly trying to stab someone else with a knife. Anyway, that was the day when Asians stopped being oppressed anymore. I know. There's a lot you have to remember, because this shit happens all the time. Anyway, but Sonia Sotomayor hates Asian people. This is good to know. Entrenched racial inequality remains a reality today. This is true for society writ large, and more specifically for Harvard and the University of North Carolina, two institutions with a long history of racial exclusion. Ignoring race will not equalize a society that is racially unequal. What was true in 1860s and again in 1954 is true today. Equality requires acknowledgement of inequality? Well, as we know, what people who are pushing affirmative action in college admissions actually want is not equality. As was made very clear to me in the Twitter space today, the 6-hour Twitter space hosted by the Krasantines. Equality is not what they want. They want equity. Now, pop quiz for the chat. What is the difference between equity and equality? Let's see who's been paying attention. Let me check in over on Rumble to see what's going on over there. No, not a whole lot today. That's fine. Let's get to this super chat from Beth. Did anyone watch Everything Is Be All White on Showtime? Imagine if it was reverse, heads would roll. No, I haven't watched that, Beth. That might be something to look into later. Equity means everyone is the same. Equal outcomes. Equality means everyone shows up, everyone gets a fair shake. Best man for the job, we all go home. Equity means not only do people not get a fair shake, but that we all have to end at the same place. It is the very definition of from each according to their ability, to each according to their need. Where does that phrase come from? From each according to their ability, to each according to their need. That's equity. That's what equity means. Equity is equal outcome and equality is equal opportunity. Exactly. Equity of outcomes leads to communism. And yes, that's exactly right. Marx. From each according to their ability, to each according to their need comes from Marx. That's what equity means. Ha ha. It's almost like you have to read to know these things. When proponents of these arguments, greater now in number on the court, return to fight old battles anew, it betrays an unrestrained disregard for precedent, the justice says. It fosters the people's suspicions that bedrock principles are founded in the proclivities of individuals on the court, not in the law, and it degrades the integrity of our constitutional system of government. Too bad, so sad, Sonia Sotomayor. But of course, was Sonia Sotomayor the only person who had a problem with this Supreme Court ruling? Does anyone want to take a guess? No, she wasn't. Ketanji Brown Jackson. Ketanji Brown Jackson also had a massive problem with this ruling. And she wrote, with let them eat cake obliviousness, Ketanji Brown Jackson has just accused the white members of the Supreme Court of being Marie Antoinette. And by the way, Marie Antoinette never even said, let them eat cake. That's a myth. That's not real life. I actually studied this time period. That is a myth that was made up to spur the French Revolution. So how ironic that Ketanji Brown Jackson is writing let them eat cake obliviousness as though that was real, when that really did lead to the overthrow of like the French monarchy. Some might even say it led to the instilling of the dictatorship of the proletariat. I'm just saying. Anyway, with let them eat cake obliviousness, today the majority pulls the ripcord and announces color blindness for all. Oh no! How awful! By legal fiat. But deeming race irrelevant in law does not make it so in life. And having so detached itself from this country's actual past and present experiences, the court has now been lured into interfering with the crucial work that UNC and other institutions of higher learning are doing to solve America's real world problems. No one benefits from ignorance. Although formal race-linked legal barriers are gone, race still matters to the lived experiences of all Americans in innumerable ways, and today's ruling makes things worse, not better. The best thing that can be said of the majority's perspective is that it proceeds ostrich-like from the hope of preventing consideration of race will end racism. Oh, too bad, so sad. Ketanji Brown Jackson. And as a reminder, guys, we do not use the term anti-white on this channel. If I see you using this term again, Hunter's laptop, I will block you. I'm sorry, but that's just the rule for many, many reasons that we've already discussed today. We got a couple more reactions to look at. We've already looked at Harvard. Let's see. Oh, this was a super fun one. Axios is all up in arms because, oh no, the end of affirmative action could have a domino effect on corporate diversity initiatives. You don't say, Axios. You don't say. Let's take a read. Oh, go away. When did they write this? This was written last week prior to the decision, but it basically acknowledges the decision. Let's see. Any day now, the Supreme Court is expected to rule in favor of rolling back affirmative action at universities. See, they all knew this was coming. They all knew. Why it matters. If overturned, corporate hiring and recruiting practices could be next to land in the crosshairs. The High Court is weighing whether colleges can explicitly consider applicants' race in admissions. They can't. Some conservative organizations have already begun to apply the discriminatory argument to U.S. companies. Well, it kind of seems to me that the Supreme Court has ruled about who's being discriminatory, and it seems to be the colleges and universities that are taking race into consideration. And this will be the last fucking time that I warn people that you will not use that term, anti-white or any derivation thereof, on my channel. I had to use it to make a point. You guys are using it because you're not listening. The next person I see using that term will get blocked. You have been warned. And I don't care if you're using it to say it's a bad thing. I don't care. I do not want it used on this channel. Because you guys are not the ones that are going to suffer the consequences of you pushing that shit. I am the one that's going to suffer the consequences. I've already suffered it. I don't want to go through it again. I know, bro. I didn't block you or anything. Chill out. Anyway, America's First Legal has filed complaints with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and asked for an investigation into the hiring and practices at companies such as BlackRock. I'm not opposed to that, actually. Morgan Stanley, McDonald's, Starbucks, Trilio, Hershey's, and I don't know that last one. Companies should expect some litigation as an outcome based on what we think may happen, Valerie says. That doesn't mean that the litigation will have merit. Well, it looks kind of like it does, though. But it does mean that companies will probably have to spend money defending claims that they otherwise should not have. Actually, this BlackRock thing makes me think of another story I wanted to cover. We'll do that in a second. But state of play, according to HR Drive, all Fortune 100 companies have publicly championed DEI commitments. Yes, they have. HR Communications and in-house counsel Axios spoke with say they are monitoring the case closely and are preparing messaging based on the scope of the ruling. One of the lessons from the Dobbs decision is that it's very hard in the immediate aftermath of the divisive decision to have a communication that doesn't appear to be taking one side or the other. Well, you know what the easy answer to that is? Don't issue a communication. Companies are not expected or even required to issue statements on everything that happens in society. There is no reason. There is literally no reason. Let's see. Where is it? There is no reason for the American Psychological Association to have issued this statement. There is no reason for any company or any association to have issued this statement. You don't have to comment on everything. It's really that simple. Mark, thank you for the super chat. Do you really want somebody performing brain surgery on you or running a nuclear power plant that got through school on affirmative action? No, I don't. Not in any way. No matter what the decision is, we're going to feel the same way about how important DEI is to us as a firm. And so communicating that to internal stakeholders is a priority that can be done in advance of the decision. Well, aren't you stunning and brave? So we'll see where this goes. Let's see. But I think Sean Davies actually gave a pretty ominous warning to conservatives on this one. Oh, and this is where I'd like to end the affirmative action discussion with. And then I've got a little bonus section that I just thought of that we're going to do that I wanted to do last week. So stick around. But Sean Davies actually had some words of wisdom here. I hope conservatives understand that the SCOTUS affirmative action decision on university admissions is the beginning of the war and not the end. The university cartel, which is responsible for much of the DEI nonsense being foisted on the country from every major institution of power, is not going to stop being racist. He is right. Identity-based exclusion is built into the firmware of the college credentialing machine. What you should expect to see is what left-wing states do when SCOTUS upholds and enforces the Second Amendment. They will either ignore the decision or change one or two tiny things on the margin to pretend they've complied. Oh, that kind of sounds like this. That kind of sounds like this, doesn't it? Where Harvard, in response to this Supreme Court decision saying, Harvard, you can't use race when you're making decisions about admissions, Harvard said, but you told us we could still consider race in the essay. So we're going to do that, Supreme Court. If they write that they are a Black trans person in the essay, there's nothing we can do about that. We didn't put it on the application. They put it in the essay. And so we are happy to comply with your decision that we can still use an applicant's discussion of how race affected his or her life, be it through discrimination, inspiration, or otherwise. We're still going to do that instead. That is exactly and precisely what Sean Davies is saying here. They will either ignore the decision or change one or two tiny things on the margins to pretend they've complied. And then force the victims of their lawlessness to spend another decade or two trying to get the original decision enforced. DC has been doing that with Heller for 15 years. New York is in the process of doing it with Bruin. The college cartel is no different, and they are 110% right. And that's why I say that, do I really think this decision is going to change things? No, I don't. Because again, most colleges do not take race into consideration in any real way. They really don't. They haven't for a long ass time. So I don't know I don't know. Maybe at the very top tier, this will make a difference. But for most people, it really won't. And the colleges are probably going to ignore the decision anyway. But I still think we should celebrate. I still think it's something we should talk about. I think it's something that at least adds to the discourse and the conversation. But will it make a difference? Probably not, but that's the way it goes. All right, did I have anything else? Oh, side note. When I was on this Twitter space today, I tweeted out, every Black family in America should be able to send their children to every school they want, regardless of zip code. Guys, can you please do me a favor? If I tweet something like, every Black family in America should be able to send their children to whatever school they want, regardless of zip code, please stop fucking replying, going, you mean every family, Carlin, you mean every family, you mean white families too, right? You mean white families, you mean every family should be able to do that. You are ruining the point I'm making in the fucking first place. You are undercutting the point I'm making when you go, you mean white people too, white people too, white people too, white people too, white people too. Just agree with the sentiment. Do you guys get why? Because this is a specific middle finger right in the eye of the BLM people who are like, redlining is proof of systemic racism. We have to get rid of all redlining, and there's nothing you can do to get rid of redlining because redlining, the impacts of redlining still exist today. And so what you say to those BLM activists is, you know what? I agree with you. Redlining was bad. I think we should get rid of all impacts of it. In fact, one of the things that we can do to get rid of the impact of redlining is to make sure that every Black family in America can send their kids to whatever school they want to go to, regardless of what their zip code is. But when people reply to this and they go, what about white families? What about white families? What about white families? As like most of the people who did reply to this, they didn't just retweet it. They're like, but what about white families too, Carlin? Do you know what you look like? You look like a bunch of effing racists, guys. Why can't you just say every Black family in America should be able to send their little darlings to whatever school they want? Now, do I think that applies to all families? Yes, of course I do. But that's not how you win the fucking argument. Stop undercutting the arguments that I'm trying to make because you don't want to specifically focus in on Black people. Okay? Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes you have to make a point. And it does look more low IQ than racist to say, what about white families? What about us? What about us? What about white families? Well, you're handing the BLM people what they want, guys. That's all I'm saying. All right? Now, I was going to end the stream there. That was going to be all I talked about today. But do you guys want a little bonus section? This is from last week. I just have to set up something on my computer real quick. Okay, this is from last week. I got to go back into the Twitter archives on this one. Hang on one second. In the meantime, guys, as I'm finding what I want to talk about, please make sure you mount that like button for me. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. We will be doing happy hour. We will be doing happy hour tomorrow at 5 p.m. Happy hour is when we watch a live woke training from, maybe not live, when we watch a woke training from start to finish and we talk about it. Let's see. Kenneth says, Carlin, you're actually offering solutions. How dare I know? I'm such a bitch. I know. Hang on. So did anyone see the reason I thought of this is because James O'Keefe and his OMG media group released videos on BlackRock last week. Did anyone see that? Did anyone see the little preview video that James O'Keefe did prior to releasing his videos on BlackRock? Because that's what we're going to talk about. I just want to find my tweets about it, which I got to go back in my timeline for because I tweeted them at PorkFest. I almost went live at PorkFest to talk about this because what James O'Keefe did was so insane. Oh, you guys are going to love this. It's going to be great. Hang on. I almost went I almost went live when I was high out of my gourd just to talk about this while I was at PorkFest. And I was like, Carlin, you're really high right now. Can we please think better of this? Because this is not a good idea. And I was like, but I really want to. I was like, no, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. Hang on. Okay, almost got it. Almost there. Steven says, I'm leaving for NYC tomorrow from Hong Kong for the summer, so I'm hoping to attend more streams. Yay, Steven, that'll be nice. Okay. I'm getting into O'Keefe Media Group's Twitter feed. Just going to go find the videos that I'm looking for. Hang on. Almost there, guys. Oh, wait, did he take it down? No. No. He did not take it down. Oh my God, did he take it down? Oh, no, found it. Okay. Found it. Okay. So, You guys are going to love this. Got to get our sound up. Okay, this was on June 19th, which was my first day at PorkFest. And James O'Keefe was recording this preview stream for his biggest story ever launch. And this video is fucking crazy. Are you guys ready? I'm just going to let this video play through. I'm going to do full screen and everything. I want everyone to turn their sound. Well, your sound is already up, apparently. Let's just watch this and think about the, quality of this video, okay?
Oh my God. Oh, she got it all. Sexy from my head to toe. And I want it all and all and all. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I did it again, so I'm gonna let go. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my gosh. You f***ed up. You really did.
Hang on. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that video? Again, I first saw this at PorkFest when I was like high off my... I seriously was watching this in my hotel and I was like, this isn't real. This can't be real. What am I even watching right now? But do you know what the best part of this video is? Do you know what I love about this video more than anything else? This is a trans woman. This is a trans woman. And I'm pretty sure, like, did James O'Keefe not know this is a trans woman? Did you, like, truly, because it really seems like James O'Keefe didn't know that was a trans woman. And she even took credit for it. She even took credit for it on her Twitter. Oh, is it locked now? Oh, her Twitter's locked now. But this trans woman did take credit for this. Also, apparently, they set that car on fire. Can we just watch this again? I have to watch it one more time. I seriously watched this like at least 5 or 6 times in my hotel room trying to go like, is this real? Is this real? Is this real? I don't even know. Can we watch it one more time?
Oh my God. Oh, she got it all. Sexy from my head to toe.
Like, do you guys remember when we were watching Nick Fuentes' channel that time? And Nick Fuentes' intro video was like half an hour long of like Nick Fuentes in fancy cars and Nick Fuentes smoking cigars and Nick Fuentes with all his boys around him. Like, this is what this video reminds me of. This is a Groyper video. And I'm sorry, this is the best that James O'Keefe with his OMG money can do? I just can't.
And I want it all and all and all. Oh my God.
What is this?
Oh my gosh. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I did it again, so I'm gonna let go. Oh my. Oh my God. Oh my.
Why? Why did we need to see that, James O'Keefe? Like, am I wrong to say that that video is crazy? Am I wrong? Am I Am I missing something? Is there any redeeming value to the— look at this? And why wasn't James O'Keefe called out for having a trans woman in this? Listen, I don't care if people are trans. It makes no difference to me at all. But like you're telling me that the conservative right are like, James O'Keefe is like a baller for doing a video with a trans woman that I don't think he knew was a trans woman. Some of the responses to this video too. By the way, I'm pretty sure that James O'Keefe is like buying bots, because like some of the responses to this video are just like basically like bot attempts. This is the average day for an alpha male. Let's see. Wolf of Wall Street too. Oh my god. But there were really conservative influencers retweeting this. I think Laura Loomer retweeted it. I think Jason Miller retweeted it. And it's like, I'm pretty sure these conservative influencers didn't even know what they were actually retweeting. Anyway. Doll Pariah, who is the trans woman that James O'Keefe had in this video, going from schizo posting to 1K followers to hanging out with Anna Dasha and Chief Keef is perhaps the greatest and quickest ascent of our time. One of them was a trans woman. 100%. 100%. So I just had to show you guys that video because I was seriously like, what the fuck is even going on? Exactly. This was my face at PorkFest when I watched that video. I was like, this is not real. This is not real. This is not real life. No, 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 no. But I love that it's real life. I love that James O'Keefe is just destroying $300,000 cars because that car did get like lit on fire or something. I saw a picture of it. I love that James O'Keefe is running around with trans women. I love that James O'Keefe is acting like a groiper. I think this is great. Fantastic. All right, guys, that is all I have for the stream today. Again, if you want to catch up on what I'm doing, please make sure you do subscribe to my Substack, which is Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. We will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. for happy hour. I don't know what we're watching yet, but I'm sure it'll have something affirmative action related because there's going to be some video of Randy Weingarten reeing somewhere. So I'm going to go and find it. But on Fridays, we do happy hour. On Saturdays, we do Socialism Saturday. Guys, that's all I've got for right now. Thank you for stopping by. Please mount that like button on your way out the door, and we'll see you guys soon. Have a good one. Bye.